So notice in this question, it's a quadratic one, which means that you have x to the second power. Now you might be wondering, why is a second degree function called quadratic? Well, that's a good question. The Latin word quadratus means square, as in the shape of a square. And a square is two-dimensional. Notice it has both length and width. It does not have depth, so it's not three-dimensional. So it's two-dimensional, and think about the fact that when we say x to the second power, we'll say x squared because a square is two-dimensional. Extending that a little bit further, let's say we talk about a cube, which has length, width, and height, so it's three-dimensional. That's why we say x cubed when referring to a third power. So going back to second degree function, the Latin word quadratus means square. A square is 2D, which is where quadratic comes from. All that to say, since it's a second degree function, we should get two answers. So right away, we can eliminate answer option D. That doesn't make sense to have three answers. And if we're trying to solve this function, which we are because it's an equation, in other words, it's equal to 0, we're going to go ahead and use our program Quad Solver. So that's for solving quadratics. Now let's contrast that with the first program, factor. You only factor when it's an expression instead of an equation. In other words, if this weren't equal to 0, so if instead we had this, we would just use factor. But because it is an equation, we're going to go ahead and use Quadratic Solver. So let's go to the second program. And we don't want to confuse this with Solver, program number 5, because if you used Solver in this case, you would only get one solution. We know we should get two because it's a second degree function. And notice it's in this standard form already. ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we'll type in those coefficients of 2, negative, make sure you use that negative key. And you don't want to do alpha y equals to do the fraction because it doesn't work within a program. Notice if I try to do it, a slash anyways. So I'll just type in negative 11 divided by 2, enter. Same thing, negative 3 divided by 2. And look at that, I get my two solutions. And just be careful, you don't want your eyes to shift and accidentally choose the wrong answer once we've done all this work. So you want to make sure you find the one that has the 3, which are both of these, and the negative 1/4, which makes the correct answer B. And remember, you got this.